Hello and welcome to today's web seminar, How, When, and Why Agency Websites Become Detrimental to the Business. This webinar is brought to you by Startup Selling and features subject matter expert speakers, Alan Bloom, and myself, John Scranton. To first introduce Alan, he's the founder of Startup Selling and the author of 2 books, Sell More and Work Less, and Your Virtual Success. He was twice named to the Inc. 500 list, in fact in 2 consecutive years, was the creator of the Prospect Scorecard, and has written over 150 agency marketing articles and is a true subject matter expert when discussing insurance web marketing, as we will be today. Again, my name is John Scranton. I'm an agency marketing expert, professional. I work at Startup Selling as well. Was a licensed insurance agent before coming to Startup Selling for a top 100 agency in upstate New York. I'm a Union College MBA. I co-authored Sell More and Work Less with Alan. I've written over 1,000 insurance marketing blogs. I'm an insurance marketing and lead gen pro, as I mentioned. And one other interesting thing you'll learn about me and Alan and me as well today is that I am right on the borderline, right at the forefront of the millennial generation, who is now becoming more influential in the buying processes for your prospects and clients, and is a technology-driven, very digital and mobile group. And we'll learn about the importance of that aspect today when we're talking about websites. So let's jump right into it. You're thinking about your website. How can you determine if your website is actually hurting your business? Well, one dead giveaway is that the site is narrow. It only fills the middle third or maybe middle 40% of your screen. That's an immediate tell that the site is outdated because it's not built to suit monitors that computers have been sold with and laptops have been built with for the last 5-7 years. So a quick tell, if your site's really narrow, it's probably outdated. It's probably causing you some pain. The site may also be difficult to navigate. Those narrow sites often featured complex navigation in a very small area. More modern sites have a simple navigation spread across a wide design, much easier to navigate. It may not format for current monitors, like I said before, narrow and long as opposed to wide. Current monitors are much more like television sets, or laptop monitors are also like miniature television sets. They are a landscape format as opposed to a small square or portrait format that older websites were designed for. They may not format for mobile devices. Think about all the different screens mobile devices have. iPhones, Androids, iPads, Surfaces, all of those different sizes need to have an appropriate website format to fit, function correctly, look attractive. If they don't, your website may be hurting your business. If your website features outdated images and or outdated content, it's certainly causing you a problem, because people know when they see a stock photo from the late 90s or from 2002 with people around a grayish boardroom covered with paper, they can immediately tell the site's old, it's not current, and they may be concerned that the processes of that website's owner may not be current either. If it features outdated content, talking about your merger from 6 years ago or sharing an Affordable Care Act update from 2013, the website looks outdated and it looks old and could be causing you a problem. Also, if the website lacks current code, search engines may not think that it's updated. They may also know that your website is not mobile compliant and may not feature your site in search results. If it lacks a content management system, very simple edits to bring that content or images I mentioned before up to date may become difficult when, in essence, a novice should be able to make those updates today with a more current content management system. If the site has limited functionality, if it lacks portals to provide your clients with service or certificates, if it lacks video or interactive features or an effective lead capture system, it may be again hurting your business. And all of those things could be impacted even more so on a mobile device. Recently, an agency told us a story about how their clients were getting upset because they couldn't get certificates. They have a certificates portal, but that portal only works on a traditional website, not on the mobile sites. Many of their clients were trying to make certificate requests on iPhones, iPads, Surfaces, etc., and it was consistently failing and they were becoming frustrated. If the site lacks social media integration, may also be causing you pain. People expect today that a website looks like and acts like social media sites and integrates those social media sites. So your LinkedIn company page should resemble the branding of your website, and they should both be updated and attractive and share professional, compelling information that conveys your expertise. If they don't, that could be a challenge. And last but certainly not least, and arguably the most important aspect, is if your website generates or elicits a negative response from prospects or clients who visit, it's certainly an issue. We want websites at a minimum to convey our expertise, appear professional, and hopefully even impress our clients and prospects. If people see an outdated site with functionality issues, design problems, poor technology, no mobile site, they certainly won't be impressed, and unfortunately they may even have a negative response that pushes them away. They may hit the back button and click on the next search result, which could be impressive as your competitors may be already working on these things. So you may be thinking, okay, I guess I get it, but our business seems fine, so why am I worried about this? Well, the reason you need to be worried about this, and you will become more worried about this in the future, is that now over 50% of searches are done on mobile devices. Buyers are getting younger and younger. Decision makers are getting younger and younger. Millennials are becoming the largest generation, outnumbering baby boomers. Many of them are in their 30s. I mentioned our dynamic here at Startup Selling with Alan and I. I'm 34. Now I make many of our decisions. In 5 years, I'll make most of our decisions. In 10 years, I'll make all of our decisions. So our vendors need to be impressing me. Modesty aside, I guess, I'm the person that they need to befriend for future success. And if we were a manufacturer or a transportation company or some type of entity that you were trying to prospect, that would be the path you need to take. And I live a very digital lifestyle. I do almost all of my searches, more than 50%, almost 100% on mobile devices. I have an iPhone, an iPad. I typically watch TV on a smart TV, not using cable. Everything in my life is digital, technology driven. So if a vendor of mine doesn't offer a mobile site or mobile functionality, they're not an option for me. And many of your competitors are already doing this. 10 years ago, few were. 5 years ago, some were. Now, many are. You need to be up to speed or you will lose ground that will be very difficult to make up in the future. As I mentioned before, your clients already expect mobile service functionality. If they're at a construction site and they need to access your service portal, somebody grabs an iPad out of the truck. It has to work as well on that iPad as it did for them yesterday in their office, or you're going to get a cranky phone call. And lastly, and once again, not least, you'll never know how many prospects you've lost because of your website. You'll never know because they won't call you. They'll go to your site, they'll see that it's not current, they'll wonder why it doesn't load properly on their iPhone or their iPad, and they simply hit the back button or X and go find somebody else. They don't call you to say, geez, I thought you were the right fit, but your website scared me off because I became concerned that you guys weren't keeping up with technology. You may not be keeping up with current trends. You may not be able to integrate with my business practices. I want to find somebody who looks like they're a leading edge organization and work with them instead. So make sure that your website is not a hindrance. It's not detrimental to your business. So some of you now thinking, well, okay, I get it, but can you show me what you mean? So let's see some examples. And Alan, I'll invite you to take us through a few before and afters where agencies went through the transition of, we have a website, well, it's kind of old. We need to move to something that becomes a marketing and lead gen tool that impresses our clients and prospects.
Very good, John. Let's advance to the next screen. And for those of you who did a website 3 years ago, you should definitely look at this. If you haven't done your website for 5 years, it's way past the time to look at this. And even if you've done it as recently as a year ago, you still may want to view this. So here's a before and after. John mentioned earlier the narrow sites. And even in this little image, we can see how difficult that might be to view on a phone, that narrow site, or on a PC. But you see all the gray area. If that was on my monitor, and I use a large monitor, I have a 23-inch monitor that would look like a TV, I guess, my flat panel. So if I were to look at that, it would only take up about a third of the middle of my screen. The mobile site, the site has been redone, and if you look at the mobile site, it is extremely broad. Like many mobile sites do today, it has a wide banner. Navigation is simplified, and the call to action buttons, the 4 buttons, are obvious, and there's a video on it. Terrific. Let's look at another one, please. This is an old site. This has only been replaced about a year ago. You can see it was very narrow, took up maybe 40% of the screen. It just looks old as soon as you see it. The images look old. You know, guy in a white shirt and a tie, another guy in a suit, just looks like a old stock image. Look at how cool and edgy this site is. Now beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. This is a young, aggressive group of gentlemen attacking the trucking industry, and you know, bold colors, broad. You know, I like it. You may not. That's part of the website creation should be a process where real time you can look at how the site is looking on a live dev test site and see, yes, this appeals to me. That's the branding and image I want to convey for my agency. So, but again, broad, big, bold, different from the first one we saw, yet certain design elements are similar. Let's continue on. Here's a really great example. And it's kind of funny, the last 2 images we've seen, both of those agencies have actually sold to a much larger agency. So we have a joke here, Start Selling, is our clients do so well, they wind up selling and retiring, or selling and making millions and going and doing something else. But here's the site that was up only about 9 months ago. Really narrow, very old looking. This is not an insignificant agency. This is a multi-million-dollar agency. And today they have this very dark site, and actually they have been purchased and have been integrated into another larger client site that looks very much like this. But you see this prominent social media sharing icons, which today are indicative, something that John the millennial would look for example. And if you went to any one of those profiles, you'd see professional profiles done. So part of making your mobile website, you know, making sure it's not hurting your business or chances, part of that is also doing a good job having at least a professional presence on the key social media platforms. So let's continue on. So look at, we talked about this. Let's give you a few real life examples. Though I'm a long way from being a millennial, I do a lot of my searches still on my smartphone. I have an Android and also on a Kindle. Recently, just in the past week, I was looking for a restaurant in my local area. I went to a restaurant website. It literally could not format on my smartphone. I gave up and made a reservation on OpenTable with a different restaurant. So definitely clients lost. I bet it happens to them all the time. I went to make a reservation for a hotel, actually in Bermuda, this is just a couple of days ago, at a place I formerly stayed at, who's a little bit behind the times, and their website was so bad it would not function on my tablet. I gave up and I actually went to a different place, and I'm probably going to wind up staying there. So we don't want that happening to your site. So what can you do? Well, the first thing is, don't look at your website on your PC. Get out of that habit. When you leave this webinar, it's first chance you have, get an iPhone or an Android smartphone, get an iPad or an Asus or a Samsung, you know, an Android tablet. Take a look at how your website looks on those devices. Do your portals work easily? Is the text large or is it tiny? Does it format well? Is it completely functional? Do you have to blow up the site? Do you have to enlarge the site dramatically to even view it? So take a look at how your site looks and how it functions on those mobile devices. Probably 60% of searches are happening now in those. And the younger your clientele, the more it's happening. So you want to then say, okay, I do need to redesign my website. So where do you go? You want to look at the design and functionality of the site. Take a look at your age, by the way. It's a great litmus test. How old is my site? How does it look? How narrow is it? Does it work mobile? From there, when you say, yes, I do need to do something very quickly, you want to select a feel, a look that you like. And there's a lot of ways of doing that. I'll talk to you about that in a second. You need a mobile strategy. And mobile, by the way, there's different terms. There's mobile friendly, there's mobile compliant, there's mobile responsive, and there's fluid. The best is a mobile responsive fluid design. And that's really interesting because actually if you have a logo or a banner based on the orientation or size, it will automatically format for that mobile device and function correctly. A little menu icon will appear, making it really easy for people to select the menu they're interested in: trucking insurance, property and casualty insurance, personal lines, etc. Now, when we hear somebody's working on a website for 6 months, we hear a problem. They don't take 6 months. I don't care if it's a deep site. I don't care if it's a 40 or a 50-page site. 90 days maximum. Maximum. Test site up in 2 to 3 weeks. So there's a process, and you know right away, and a lot of times people give it to their IT group. Don't do that. The IT group is the worst place to build a website. First of all, they're technically oriented as opposed to business oriented. They're not content people. They're technical people. They're not graphic artists, and you won't have one on staff in all likelihood. They won't understand the look and feel, the new designs, the new methodologies. So the best case scenario is don't give your website to your buddy down the street who does it. Don't give it to your IT. Find a place that does insurance websites, and they do them well. Partner with them. Get a selection of different sites that you might like. To have that test site created quickly, and basically you should be able to say, here's the look and feel I'm trying to convey, and your job is done. Ultimately, the goal is to impress your clients, your prospects, your partners, your employees. Everybody today will go to your website. If you're a professional agency or wish to be, that's the place to start. Once that's done, we move on to the social media platforms. You want to look good on LinkedIn, Facebook, not as much, but Twitter is nice. Is certainly, it's so easy to do, and you should have one there. YouTube, if you have any video, you can have great branding on that. Google Plus is a throw-in, but those are the major social media platforms. When you're doing a website as an ancillary project, it's extremely easy to carry that great branding that's now on your website over to those social media platforms. So when you leave this meeting today, when we're all done, go check your website on your smartphone, go check it on a tablet, look at it, give it an honest critique, and then from there determine, is my website hurting my business? Do I really need to upgrade it? And do I need to do so quickly? John, how shall we wrap up here?
Thank you, Alan. We're right on time for today's 20-minute power webinar, 20 minutes of content. Now we'll enter a short Q&A. And Alan, I'll pose the first question to you. You guys barely mentioned SEO. Is it still important?
So search engine optimization, which is really, let's call it what it is, it's really Google-centric because Google is so dominant in that area. Google is really Google wants you to advertise, so they want to do everything they can to prevent you from consistently appearing at the top of the rankings. Also, it's not something that is worth the continual investment for you to be at the top of rankings, because there's much better and more efficient ways of doing so. So we always include basic on-page SEO for all of our clients, but when it comes to digital marketing money, we say bring your message to your targeted prospects. And there's things better than SEO that do that, including social media marketing, email marketing, digital content marketing, LinkedIn publishing. There's a lot of great ways for you, the agency executive and owner and broker, to bring your message directly to the market as opposed to investing money in SEO and hoping people will see you.
The next question we have is, do I need a separate mobile website or mobile app?
So there's some confusion here. That's a really great question. Thank you for asking that. There's some confusion here. A really good responsive mobile website, HTML5 website, should be fluid, and it will automatically format for any device, so you do not need a separate mobile website. Usually if you need a separate one, there's some type of issue. The site wasn't done well in the first place.
The last question we have, I'll handle. Many people have asked about the PowerPoint slides. If you would like a copy of the PowerPoint, my phone number and email address are on the screen. Please reach out to me or visit our website. We'll be posting the video recording of this web seminar shortly, startupselling.com. Or if you would like a complimentary insurance agency website review conducted in a short web meeting where we give you feedback on your website, measuring it against current industry standards so you understand where you are, please also reach out to me. We'd be happy to arrange that. With that, today's web seminar is now attending. Alan, we thank you for your expertise. We thank all of you in the audience for attending. We hope you have a great day.